going to show you how I did low profile plasma pop bumpers in a Johnny Mnemonic. Nice thing about this design, besides it looking very clean, is in Johnny we've got very little clearance space under this ramp, and this would not have worked with the lighted pinball mod system that those guys were selling for a while that had the epoxy caps that gave a lot of headspace. It was a nice looking unit, but this way we can do all three pop bumpers. This is the heart of the project. These are little portable plasma that you can get from Amazon. What we're going to do is we're going to run a razor blade around this plastic edge here to loosen up. There's 4 double back tape tabs. I've already removed the batteries and the centerpiece between them. And then you clip out this section here to allow for you to lift this out once you remove that screw. Now this is your positive connection. It should be a red wire, but these have had different colored wires in them. Just be sure that you keep that straight because it's DC. You're going to make sure that polarity matches. So positive connection, negative connection, and then this right here is a stranded copper wire that goes to the cathode on the plasma. You'll desolder that, which will give you about 3/4 of an inch of wire to work with. You're going to straighten that out, but be real careful you don't flex it too much because you can break off the glass cathode here. And we're going to solder an 18 gauge stranded wire to this and then extend that to our control chip, which will be mounted under the playfield board. Hold these 2 pieces together with an alligator clip and then do your soldering. So I've trimmed the tops off and flattened them down with a bench grinder. It's not super clean, but it won't matter because your disc is going to sit right down on top of it like this and be secured with silicone, which will provide a shock absorption layer as well as not having to have mounting screws that came in from the sides like the epoxied version had in order to get them off. If you ever need to work on your pop bumper, just give it a little twist like this. It'll break the silicone free, peel it all off and start over. So you could need to do that if you're going to keep the lights, the original factory light inside the pop bumper. I'm going to remove mine because I want it a little bit dark so we get a little more of that plasma effect. So I don't really anticipate needing to get in there much, but that's how you would do it if you need to. All right, so I've passed the wire through one of the original lamp socket wire holes there and put a little bit of silicone around the top, and I'm going to try and set it down in here without breaking that cap off. And by cap, I mean my wire. It connects to the glass. Okay, so it's taped in place. We're going to let that set up a little bit so we don't have a lot of movement, and we'll check on it here in a bit and do some other work. Here our control chip is mounted within about 5 inches of the cathode, and our connection to that is here. And then we've got our positive and negative coming from our 3-volt power supply. This is a variable DC power supply that goes from 3 to 12 volts. We'll use it 3 volts. I thought we might need to be able to dial it up a little bit if we needed to, but 3 seems to be working fine. So that provides our 3-volt power over to our relay here, which is rated for 6 volts AC. Now our general illumination circuit is 6.7 volts AC, and I checked with the company. They kind of warned me that it may be a hazard to run it a little bit hot like that, but I've used it for some time. It's never even gotten the slightest amount of heat to it. Obviously, watch your installation for any kind of trouble if you have any. But the 6.7 volts is tied in over here up to the general illumination circuit. What I did is I eliminated that upper spotlight for the upper playfield, as it was providing more light than we really want. We want to have it a little bit dark to really see the plasma effect. So taking that out really worked nicely. And it turns off occasionally during the attract mode, so we don't run our plasmas constantly. So that works out pretty well. So light comes on, fires our relay, 3 volts runs through the system to where we've made our connections back to our control circuits. Cost of the project was really reasonable. The plasmas are about $18 a piece. The power supply was $13 and the relay was $15. I'll put all the part numbers in the show notes for the video notes for reference. I went ahead and saved the lamp sockets that I pulled out. I did remove the lamps from the original pop bumpers to give us space to pass our wire through and for the cathode on the plasma. I went ahead and picked up 3 replacement caps from Pinball Wizard. Marco was out of stock. These are like $3 from Pinball Wizard in Utah. Good thing to have on hand. We're going to save the lamp sockets. We're going to save these pop bumper caps in case we ever want to go back. I don't think I'll ever want to because it's a very cool effect. But anyway, you're into it about $85 for the whole thing. One thing that some people are probably going to be concerned about is having glass in your playfield. And I imagine if this were in the public, you probably wouldn't want that. It's my personal machine, so I've had no problems with it. In Johnny, the jet bumper setup is not susceptible to balls flying in and breaking anything. So I think for this particular game, this is a good install, but just kind of use your head with how you do your machine. Okay, we have finished product. Low profile DIY plasma pop bumpers.